The world seemed to shift around them, the ancient temple blurring and transforming into something more ethereal, a place that existed beyond the constraints of time and space. Amadioha looked at Orunmila, his eyes reflecting both curiosity and uncertainty. There was something about Orunmila's presence now that felt different, as though he was about to share a truth that transcended even the gods. Amadioha spoke first, breaking the silence. Earlier, you mentioned the creative force, the source of all things. Shouldn't that be Chukwu, or Yahweh, or Olodumare, or any of the many creative gods out there? Orunmila's lips curled into a faint smile, one that carried both wisdom and secrecy. You already know what all these gods have in common, don't you, Amadioha? You almost said it to Anansi, and almost shattered reality with that truth. But here we are safe, protected by the walls of the sacred, and I will tell you. Amadioha's gaze narrowed, curiosity burning in his eyes. Tell me, Orunmila. Orunmila took a deep breath, his eyes locking with Amadioha's. Every living and non-living thing is made up of something we call the God substance. It is what binds the universe together, the essence that forms everything, from the smallest stone to the mightiest god. But tell me, Amadioha, why are we gods and humans are not? What makes a human and a god a god? Amadioha frowned, considering the question. Is it power? The ability to command and shape reality? Orunmila nodded thoughtfully. In part, yes. But there is more to it. There is an ongoing debate among the Council of Gods, gods like myself who serve fate and destiny, about this very question. Are all living things made up of the same God substance, or do some beings possess more of it than others? Amadioha's brow furrowed, his mind racing with possibilities. You mean, we're gods because we have more of this God substance than humans do? That is one theory, Orunmila replied, his voice calm. A theory that says we gods are born with a greater concentration of God substance, making us inherently superior. But there is another theory, one that claims that everything is made up of the same amount of God substance. The difference is not in the amount, but in awakening. Amadioha's eyes widened slightly, his interest piqued. Awakening? Orunmila nodded, a spark of excitement in his eyes. Yes, the theory suggests that we gods are born awakened, our God substance fully realized from the moment of our creation. Humans, on the other hand, humans are born in a state where they are unaware of their potential, believing themselves to be lesser, bound by the limitations of their mortal world. But the truth is, there have been humans who have transcended into the realm of the gods. Amadioha's eyes narrowed, a hint of skepticism in his expression. Humans ascend to the realm of gods? Orunmila smiled. Yes. Have you not heard the story of Buddha? A human who awakened his God substance and transcended his mortality, becoming something greater. He is but one example, but there are others, humans who have bent reality, who have shaped their lives, and even touched the divine. Amadioha looked thoughtful, his mind processing this revelation. So, the second theory, it makes more sense to you? Yes, it does, Orunmila replied, his tone more serious now. Humans are born into a world where they are made to believe that they are lesser, that they are separate from the divine. Most gods do not understand what it means to be human. We are born with power. It is handed to us, a gift from fate. But humans, they must earn their power. They must awaken, and that is what makes them so special. He paused, his gaze softening. The greatest gift humans possess is their mind. If a human learns to bend their mind, to see beyond the illusion of limitation, then they can bend reality itself and shape their destiny. That is the key to awakening their God substance. Amadioha looked at Orunmila, a newfound respect in his eyes. So, what is the true nature of the creative force? Orunmila's expression turned distant, as if he was peering into something far beyond the present. There is a tale as old as the oldest gods that says we are all part of a single being, a force that we call the creative force, the source. This power, so raw, so intelligent, and so immense, desired to experience all things, and so it duplicated itself, breaking into multiple pieces. The first of these pieces are what we today call the creative gods, like Chukwu, Olodumare, Yahweh. They are the closest in nature to the source itself. You might even call them the avatars of the source. They are it, and it is them, but not fully. They are less powerful because they are merely parts of the original whole. Amadioha listened intently, the weight of the information sinking in. So the source used them to create everything else? Yes, Orunmila continued. The creative gods became channels for the source, giving birth to everything we see. The gods, humans, the earth, the heavens. Every living and non-living thing is a fragment of the source, a part of its desire to experience all that is possible. Amadioha's eyes narrowed in thought. So, does that mean the source is in all of us? Orunmila smiled, nodding. Yes, the source is truly omnipresent. It is not just everywhere. It is everything. It permeates every part of existence, from the biggest gods to the smallest grain of sand. It is in the air humans breathe, the light of the sun, the depths of the ocean. It is truly omnipresent. Amadioha's voice was filled with awe as he spoke. But if that is true, then what of hell? The place they call Gehenna, or whatever name it bears, the place that lacks the presence of the divine. Orunmila's gaze grew intense. If that were true, then the creator gods themselves are not truly omnipresent. But the source is different. It is not just present everywhere, it is everything. Even the concept of a place without it is an illusion. The source is in all places, in all things. Amadioha's expression turned thoughtful, his mind filled with questions. But then, why are the creative gods so different in their personalities? Orunmila chuckled softly. Each of the creative gods has been assigned to different cultures. They take on the personality of the culture they are meant to shape and nurture. They are reflections of the beliefs and values of their people. That is why the creative gods differ, because they reflect the diverse expressions of humanity and the source's desire to experience all things. He paused, his eyes softening. That is also why forces like love are so powerful, because the source seeks love among all things. It seeks connection, compassion. And that is why, for a human or even a god to ascend in power, they must embody love and compassion. That is the true path to being close to the source. Amadioha nodded, his eyes filled with newfound understanding. Orunmila leaned closer, his voice lowering. But remember this, Amadioha. If any of these truths were to be spoken beyond these walls, it would shatter the fabric of reality. Amadioha's thoughts grew heavy, and he found himself pondering the origin of it all. How did the source come to be? Was fate involved? And if fate was involved, just how ancient was fate? He looked at Orunmila, who seemed to sense his question, but instead of answering, Orunmila simply smiled, a knowing, enigmatic smile that left Amadioha both curious and unsettled. The world around them had changed again, as if the temple had dissolved into the very fabric of existence. Now, Amadioha found himself standing beside Orunmila at the edge of a vast, shimmering lake. The water was unlike anything Amadioha had ever seen, dark yet glowing, with an aura that seemed to reach deep into the past, as though it carried the essence of the beginning of time. Orunmila gestured toward the lake, his voice calm yet filled with significance. This is no ordinary water, Amadioha. This is the raw water, the primordial element that existed before the separation of the heavens and the earth. It is older than the creative gods themselves, a force untouched by the divisions that shape our world today. Amadioha's gaze remained fixed on the lake, the gravity of Orunmila's words settling in his chest. The water from before creation, he murmured, almost to himself. Orunmila nodded, his expression serious. Yes, this water holds the essence of the creative force, the raw potential from which all things were born. And it is in this water that you must meditate. You must connect with the God force within you, but it will not be easy. The path to awakening this force is fraught with trials that will test not just your power, but your mind, your spirit. Amadioha turned to face Orunmila, his eyes filled with determination. Tell me what I must do. Orunmila's eyes reflected both sympathy and resolve. You must enter the water, and you must remain there in meditation for 40 nights. During this time you will confront the depths of your own being. You will face the shadows of your past, your fears, and the truths you have long avoided. Amadioha took a step closer to the water, the surface reflecting his image in an almost ethereal glow. And what will I gain from this? You will gain the ability to connect with the raw God force within you, Orunmila replied. This force lies deep within, but accessing it requires a clear and stable mind. The creative force cannot be harnessed by a mind clouded by doubts or fears. During these 40 nights, you will learn to silence the noise within you, to find the stillness that allows the divine to flow through you. Amadioha took a deep breath, the reality of what he was about to do settling in. The water seemed to call to him, a deep, almost cosmic resonance that promised both challenge and transformation. Without hesitation, he began to wade into the lake, the cool water sending shivers through his body as it rose higher around him. Orunmila watched from the shore, his gaze filled with both admiration and caution. This will not be easy, Amadioha. You will be tested, your fears, your regrets, the memories that haunt you. All will come to the surface. But know that I am here. I will guide you through this, even when it seems unbearable. Amadioha nodded, determination blazing in his eyes. I am ready. He moved further into the water, submerging himself until only his head remained above the surface. Orunmila raised his hands, his voice resonating with an ancient power as he began to chant. The waters around Amadioha seemed to come alive, swirling and shifting as though they were responding to Orunmila's words. Amadioha closed his eyes, allowing himself to sink beneath the surface. The world above disappeared, replaced by the quiet, almost eerie stillness of the raw water. He could feel the weight of the water pressing down on him, a sensation that seemed to reach beyond the physical, into his very soul. The first night was the hardest. The memories came like a flood, images of his past, of battles fought, of victories and losses, of moments that defined him for better or for worse. He saw flashes of his arrogance, the times when his power had made him careless, when he had thought himself untouchable. He saw the faces of those he had hurt, intentionally or unintentionally, and felt their pain as if it were his own. He struggled against it, the instinct to fight back rising within him. But Orunmila's words echoed in his mind. You must find stillness. He forced himself to breathe, to let the memories wash over him without resistance. Slowly, the chaos within began to settle, replaced by a quiet acceptance of what had been.